Rev up your engine. '22 Hyundai Elantra. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to go through the whole truth about this car. One thing, as the owner said, and I kind of agree with, quite a few of these are still made in South Korea, but this one was made in Alabama. He kind of wonders why it's had problems, and it's only a year old. He's thinking maybe they didn't do it that good in Alabama. They had to fix the horn twice, but the thermostat assembly broke, and it's like a $500 something job. Fixed under warranty. But I have 25-year-old Toyotas that have the original thermostat still in them and they're still working. So realize the quality control still isn't there with Hyundai. But as the man says, check it out. Driving here from upstate New York, 53.5 miles per gallon. You can't complain about that. Interior's nice. A gray chrome. Got a decent wide angle backup camera. Push button start with no key. It does have a regular parking brake, so hurrah for that. And you can play with the driving modes, normal, sport, smart. You can put your camera on with a flick of a button. You want to look, see what's going on. You don't have to put it in reverse. Notice it's not in reverse. You can play around with the camera. Technology done a lot better on this than on the earlier ones. There's no arguing that. And as another plus, check the injectors out. It has normal injectors. It's not a GDI system. You don't have to worry about all that extra pressure. This is a 2-liter non-turbo, so you got a lot less strain on the engine. It could last quite some time. Now, they do seem to be having quality controls in Alabama, but this particular engine so far hasn't had any particular problems. Although I did have to have this replaced under warranty. The whole plastic thermostat assembly. Realize one thing. Get 50-something miles a gallon out of a normally aspirated, non-GDI engine. There's a lot of technology. They're more thermal efficient with the way these designed. That's why the thermostat costs so much money. On a normal car, thermostat costs you $10, right? But no, these things are a lot more complex. If the technology holds up, it's kind of interesting to get 53 miles a gallon out of a normally aspirated non-GDI engine. A lot of that too has to do with their transmission. That doesn't use stupid belts, it uses chains, so it should have a tendency of lasting a lot longer than the older ones did. It is warranted for 100,000 miles. Hyundai had so many problems, they had to do that because they had to replace so many engines. They got such a bad taste in people's mouths that they got to offer a warranty like that. They really had no way out of it. Now, he did a trade-in, but he figures he's probably in at about 22,000 brand new. Considering the average new car today is almost 50 grand, you can get something that can get 53.5 miles a gallon on the highway. Might drive it for years and years, and we'll see how it goes over the years. He's honest too. If it's a piece of crap, he'll tell me. If the tranny blows or the engine blows, I'll be the first one to find out about it. I like the fact that it's a 2-liter, decent size, non-turbo, non-GDI engine. Everybody else is going for tiny 4s, tiny 3s, turbos to give them a bit more power. They claim they're better gas mileage, but that's a load of crap because when you put a turbo on an engine, most people drive them faster and they're going to get worse gas mileage. This is real gas mileage, 53.5. Him driving a normally aspirated one on a highway. And it's certainly got a better tendency to last than a smaller turbocharged 4 or even smaller turbocharged 3-cylinder engine. And you can see, you know, it's a good looking car. Got a lot of space. Now, as the owner showed me, it's got some cool body designs. I mean, look at it. Look at all the different angles that it's got on it. But like he said, unlike his friend's Corolla with 300,000 miles almost on it, if that thing gets wrecked, man, it's going to be a bear fixing it correctly. How the line's all going to line up. You might have to replace all the doors and the side panels if you get in a wreck, because look at it, you'll got shadows all over the place, and it would look horrible if you didn't fix it right. It does look cool as it stands, but it could be a body man's nightmare. So let's close the hatch up here and take it for a spin. Doesn't sound bad. Lots of colors. Oh, look, I'll swirl it around. Look at that. Ooh, impressive. Whoa. Low to the ground. So he kind of bottomed out when he went over the hump. So we're going to go sideways. If you ever want to go over a hump, go over it slowly and sideways and no sound. Well, first thing I gotta say, it's pretty quiet and it's got a pretty smooth ride to it too. And over these bad roads in Rhode Island, I gotta say, it's got a relatively good dampening. It's not the way the old Hyundais were, where they rode like washing machines. It's got a much smoother ride, better suspension. It's got an old man turn signal. Listen to that click, so the old people can hear them. The Germans are trying to make them silent, and I guess the Koreans are making them loud, kind of like a metronome. And here we go. Well, that was interesting because those fake shifts feel like real shifts. And it's the CVT, but it's an intelligent one, and really, it doesn't have that motorboat lag that the old ones did. And before everybody comes, we'll whip over here. Nice turning, no over or under steering. It's got a snazzy looking steering wheel too. It's got a nice design, but it is round, even though it looks kind of like an airplane. It's a real one you can use that's round. I hate those yoke steering wheels, they're so annoying. It's got a nice setup dash with various colors. All the information's on there when you push your buttons. And here we are in the bumpy roads, and it really doesn't feel all that bad. Got lane departure stuff on it and everything. But like I always say, I wouldn't trust my life with that stuff. Got a nice smooth idle, hey, I mean, kind of interesting. Now everybody knows I'm not a Korean car fan, but I do have to say, I kind of like the idea of this car that they did not go for GDI. They did not go for turbocharging. They have a normally aspirated vehicle that can get 53 miles a gallon on a highway. Now, the owner says he wanted a disclaimer because he said he came here with his slow friend and they only went 70. But still, 70 miles an hour and you're getting 53.5 miles a gallon. You can't argue that. Of course, as usual, only time will tell what happens because it's only got 20,000 miles on it and it's 2022. It's a relatively new car, but I have to say, kind of interested in that price range to get something that gets that kind of gas mileage, a little over 20 grand. I mean, we'll see if the engines hold up, see if that intelligent transmission holds up, but as it stands now, it's an interesting quandary as to whether I'd buy one or not. So stay tuned, I'll tell you in 5 years what I think. And here's some bonus questions and answers. J Birch 12 says, I have absolutely no power in my 2001 Ford Ranger. Unfortunately, I power washed the truck for 10 minutes. About an hour later, it has no power. I noticed the fuse box cover was left off from a person who put a master cylinder in it 2 months ago, and there was water in my fuse box. Numero uno, do not power wash cars. There's all this electronics in there. Water will destroy. Who cares if it's dirty under your hood? Do you live under there? Do you eat under there? No, the hood's closed. You know, leave it alone. I've had so many people bring me cars that have been power washed that destroyed electronics. Now, you smell that water in there, you're going to have to take that whole fuse box apart and check for all kinds of corrosion, clean it with spray electrical cleaner, make sure that there aren't any fuses that are blown. Even a little corrosion on a fuse will go nuts, so you got to pull them all out, clean it all, probably replace the fuses if they're corroded. It's a big reason I tell people never power wash an engine. It serves no purpose whatsoever. So what if the engine's a little greasy? Hey, my engines and my cars are all a little greasy under the hood. They don't drip and go to the ground. That's all I care about. They're not dripping. It's good enough. Don't do that, people, because you can destroy things. You're going to have to go through all that electronics now. And hopefully it didn't short out. That is a fuse box. And if it shorted out, it could have shorted out one of your computers, like the main computer, the PCM or the ECM, the engine control module. Could have shorted those out and destroyed them just because you got water on that box. Don't pressure wash machines today. There's too many electronics you can destroy. NKB14 says my check charge system light is on. I got a 2015 Honda Civic Si. The check charging system light's on. I checked the battery and alternator and both are working. I had a mechanic take a look and reset it, but 3 hours later it came back on again. Understand one thing about modern cars. You got a 2015 Honda Civic. Everything is run by computers. Everything, even the charging system is run by computers. But before you go any further, have a pro like me test your battery. Because if the battery is weak, all bets are off. The battery, say, old, if it's the original battery, that would be what, 8 years old? Just replace it. When you check your battery, have them check your alternator too. Now, if those both are good, you tested them right, and they are good, then check all the wiring. If you got loose battery terminals, corroded, anywhere where the wires plugged together that are loose or corroded, fix that. Now, if it isn't that, unfortunately, the computer, the ECM, the electronic control module, ultimately adjusts the charging system of that vehicle, and you could have a problem in that. It's relatively rare on Hondas. Most often, it's just the battery or a loose wire or a corroded connector. Start simple and work your way up and pray it's not the main computer that's gone bad. It can be in that car, but it's pretty rare in a Honda. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.